aren't they listed on our website, or do they go away?
They're all listed on YouTube.
Oh yeah, that's where you can check.
Alrighty, ready? Yep.
There he is. That's glasses. Be mic mindful, please. Good. Mike mindful. Think it, see it, be it. Think Mike mindful. I'm mindful of the mic. I don't just talk in front of it. I just don't speak with clarity into the microphone. Well, didn't I have Coca-Cola? Did I? That's yours. That's mine right there. That's yours. Which one? Which one? Root beer. No, that's cool. No, I'm mindful that the water is there.
I'm unmuted.
Hey man.
Hi. I hear you. Can you hear me, Hanah?
I can hear you.
Good.
So how do you get two flute players to play in tune?
Play two of them, two together, playing unison, half step apart. Hanah? Yeah.
Greg, can you hear me,
Hi.
man?
Yeah, I can hear you. Hi. I can hear you.
Okay. So, we're going to start in, I guess, a couple of minutes. I'm going to introduce you, and then I would like for you to play for a while. Okay. Mhm.
Okay.
So tell us who's playing. Everything.
Can we get it up?
Yeah.
Are we live? Hey,
Huh?
just keep playing, Greg.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Hey.
yeah. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Cafe Coda Live Global Streaming. We are so happy to be here in Madison, Wisconsin, where it is relatively safe. And however, too bad we're so isolated from each other that things have to be this way. But tonight is a great pleasure, and we consider it kind of a maiden voyage because this is all very new to all of us. Uh, the streaming, the Zoom streaming, I guess we could call it, of the great Greg Abate from Carlingville. Is it Carlingville?
Oh, I'm not. I'm living in Coventry, Rhode Island.
Coventry, Rhode Island.
Yeah, I'm living
Coventry,
here. Yes.
Coventry, Rhode Island. And so, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, how about it for the great Greg Abate,
Oh, thank you.
Dr. Saxophone. Yeah, my man.
Hey,
Hey,
man.
Greg. How
Hey,
are
man.
you?
I'm okay. I'm just seeing the. How are you doing, Hanah?
I'm fine, man. It's just so
Yeah.
good to hear you. Sorry
Thank
we
you.
can't be a little closer, but it's great to hear that wonderful sound of yours. You have a wonderful
Thank
sound.
you. I keep getting a waiting signal on my. I can't see you at all.
You can't see me?
No, I cannot.
Well, listen, you ain't missing much.
Hold on.
Okay?
Join
No.
the video. I hit join
Yeah,
the video.
I have a face for radio. Yes.
I tell you what, man, it was good on the sound check. I'll tell you, I'm
Oh,
I'm
there.
still I'm still waiting. Can you see me?
Yeah, I can see you, man. Yes,
Okay,
I can. So,
that's all. That's all. You know, I got to see you and see all the folks at the club, Micah and Jan, and so it was good to see you back there because I had a great pleasure of being there last December. It was really fun, man,
we had a great time. We had a great time. Yeah.
and really great. I
Yeah.
wonder, I wonder if Dave Stoll is tuning in tonight.
Well, I hope he is. I know that he is. He's kind of self quarantined. Like many have.
Yeah.
I tried to get him to come and play for one of our streaming events, but he respectfully declined, and I
Oh,
understand that.
man.
But it's good to have you here.
Yeah,
Uh,
I really appreciate it. It's good to talk to you and see you. If I was in Madison, which is a special place for me, like the reason I ended up playing in Madison so many times is because I had a good friend that lived here in Rhode Island that was from Madison, Kurt Lang,
Kurt
and
Lang, right? I
yeah,
remember we used to play a lot together,
yeah,
right? Yeah,
yeah. He was in Providence for many years,
yeah.
and
Wasn't
yeah,
he from Providence?
no, Madison.
Kurt was from Madison.
Yeah, he lived right on the Lake Lake
Yeah,
Monona,
I
right on
actually
the
thought he was.
shore.
I thought he was
You could
actually
see the
from there.
Capitol from his house,
Oh
and
yeah.
I stayed there many times. He moved back there, and then he said, "I got to get you over to Madison." And the first time I got there, I played at this place down Main Street, and that's when I met the Farleys, and I guess I
Yeah.
met you in town a
Yes,
ways over.
I think I was there for that gig.
Yeah, long time ago.
Well, it's good to have you. It's always good to hear you. But
Thank you.
here's an opportunity I think we have uh, to um, to have you share some of your life experience with us, in hopes
Oh, thank you.
we can inspire some young players and maybe some older players as well. Um, I know that there are probably some very interesting moments in your life that parallel interesting times in history. I believe you can never separate a music from its time, Greg. And I'd like
No.
to talk with you a little bit about um, how it was for you coming up as a young boy, uh, being uh, being
Oh,
encouraged to play or not, and what kind of challenges there were then for you that um, that you had to endeavor to move forward.
well, I was very young when I started playing the clarinet, and it was like a challenge to have an instrument in your hands when you didn't know the complications that would be unreal, revealed to you from your teacher. It was very difficult to play the clarinet as being in the seventh grade, like it was 12 years old, I think, sixth grade. So I I went with it because I liked the sound of the instrument and the way it felt after I got the reed position right. Because the first time I put the reed on, I had the mouthpiece turned totally around, and when I went to my first lesson, it was like my teacher got a charge out of that. That I had the mouthpiece with the reed on the top, and can only get like duck sounds out of it with that.
Yeah.
So, but I practiced, and I wasn't really a great practicer. I liked to. I was a kid, and I just like to play and ride my sled, go fishing and swimming. And I would a lot of times I wouldn't go to my lessons, and then I was more of an improviser at a young age because I had a difficulty reading, and reading is very important if you're a student of music and you want to play the instrument. You can always get a sound and get a nice tone probably with practicing that way, but to get the knowledge of the whole the harmony and the technique is a big thing to play jazz, especially. So I think like classical studies was great, but I was more of an improviser because I took me a while to read, to learn to read properly and to be fast at it.
Uh-huh.
Took many years. But
Yeah.
that's about, I played clarinet till I was in the ninth grade. Then I switched to the alto to be in the jazz band, and I was in the marching band playing clarinet, and also the classical orchestra playing clarinet, and I played saxophone in the jazz band.
Yeah. And out of high school, you went on to Berkeley. Is that correct?
Yeah, I went to Berkeley School of Music at the time, and it was in Boston. And I went there 4 years, studied music, just music composition,
You went
arranging,
on
and
to Berkeley.
yeah,
Is that correct?
yeah. I went to Berkeley School of Music at the time.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's some feedback.
studied with Charlie Mariano and Joe Viola, and John Laporta, Herb Pomeroy, and Phil Wilson. The greats, they were all like major jazz people, teaching, and I think they were just like into the teaching as much as their career. And I sort of like echo that in a way. I like teaching myself, and I also like to have that aspect to have like another. It's like another instrument altogether, when you're teaching. And I know you do a lot of teaching yourself.
Well,
And
when you teach and learn, that's one thing.
yeah, you sure do. And I've been teaching a long time. Like started off teaching in music stores and doing private lessons at home, and then teaching at high schools, and going in after school to do that, and then intertwining it with touring and coming back. And in the last 18 years, I've been teaching as an adjunct jazz professor at Rhode Island College.
Uh-huh.
And if you folks don't know, Rhode Island is like the smallest state in the country, and it's very close to Boston, about a 35-minute car ride from where I live to Boston, Massachusetts. And I'm about 2.5 hours to New York. And
Uh-huh.
so that's where geographically I'm at.
Cool. Well, would you play a little more for us?
Sure. What would you like to hear?
Well, how about something that you've been playing that has evolved from your playing as a younger player?
Oh, okay. Well, the thing I played on clarinet, right? Well, that I couldn't play is this. I get the tune in my head. You want to hear it?
Yeah, let's hear.
This is really, really the first thing. Oh, where'd you go?
I don't know where I went. I'm here.
There you go.
Yeah, okay.
I remember this now. I forgot the name of it, but it goes like this.
Au clair de la lune.
What?
Au clair de la lune.
Right, Claire to learn, but but like I started when I played it, I would do this. And my teacher would say, "Well, that's not what's written on the page." I said, "Yeah, but it sounds good."
Sounds good though. Yeah.
Yeah, you want to do this is the way it was written, right?
Yeah, I think you played the Sidney Bechet version.
Yeah, he didn't like that.
Yeah.
This is a tune from my Evolution now. Not Evolution. It's like what is it? Road to Forever. It's the title track to that CD. You can see like most of my recordings online, and I've been fortunate to have like a nice career of recording with some great artists, and featured artists with me, and also star rhythm sections, and I find that was really a blessing for me. I'm really lucky. And this is the title. I'll play the head. It's Road to Forever. And the Road to Forever, when I wrote the tune, I wasn't thinking of Chick Corea like his tune. But but I was thinking about how life is, and it just keeps going forward, and it's like forever. It just keeps like eternity. Like life to me is like that, and to make the best of it as you go along. Although it's hard to always take the hard things with the good things because we're human, and I think it's just hard to like. Life is hard, but this tune so emulates the feeling that I have, and it's kind of a high energy tune if you listen to it with the rhythm section too. But here's the melody.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
That's entitled Journey to Forever?
Road to Forever.
Road to Forever. That's excellent. I can't wait to hear that with a rhythm section.
Well, I'll send you the CD. I'll
Great.
put it in the mail to you.
Great. That would be fantastic.
Yeah, I will do that. And
Now you mentioned your that is one of your original compositions.
yes, it is. Yeah.
I'd like to talk with you for a minute about your process of composing,
Sure.
whether it emerges from uh, a technical idea, I'll call it,
Yeah.
or something that is more dreamlike.
hmm
Maybe both.
Yeah. Uh,
Where do you where do
well,
you where do you find the main source of your inspiration for
well,
composing?
there's various places. So just like experiences or being in outside nature, being at the ocean, uh, riding in my car. I hear, I'll sing lines to myself, and a lot of times I try to remember those lines. This is one case, and it usually never happens that I can remember it. So now,
Right.
like a couple of weeks ago, I was writing, and I sang the line into my voice memo on my phone. So when I got home, I could hear the melody, and I remembered it because it's there. And I got on my piano, and I was trying to put some chords to that melody, and then I went on to elaborate to make it the type of form of the tune it was, which became like an A-B tune.
Uh-huh.
But other times I'll sit at the piano and play chords, and I'll just hear lines in my head. I guess that's where I'm hearing them, and I'll write it down, and like I'll start and make a draft and like build up that way, and then other times I'll take a tune that's already a standard, and I'll use the chords from that tune and write a melody on the chords, like from like a contrafact is called. Like I know Charlie Parker and a lot of jazz greats did that. They would change the melodies to
It
fit
would
on
take the
tunes.
melody and play over the chord progressions. And
Yeah,
matter of fact, ASCAP and BMI um, say that that's legal. That's quite allowable. It's
yeah, I mean, because a lot of my tunes are contrafacts, and I know that. And I when I and I asked, they said you can't copyright chords, and like chords are like, I
record.
guess they're just for everybody to use because harmony. I don't know the reason, but it's, melodies are, but
Yeah.
chords aren't.
Well,
You
I
know,
think it's interesting that chord progressions cannot be copyrighted. Like
definitely.
back home in Indiana, you
Oh
know.
yeah, that's a good one. That would be like Donna Lee, right?
Yeah, it's like 9 tunes right there. You know.
Yeah, Donna Lee. Let's see. Um, I played it mostly on alto, but like if I played it on tenor, it'd be a challenge for me to play live
Okay.
to the world on an instrument that I play. But I
Yeah.
usually play Donna Lee on alto because it's a bird tune. I was associated with that. But I could try it on tenor and see if I can cut it. Is that all right with
Well,
you?
you got your alto.
I do, but sure, it's right here.
Play it on alto, and when you play it on alto, I would like for us to segue into this just little topic
Talking about what?
bebop.
Oh, sure. Well, this is like the tune on the back home in Indiana would be the tune is based on it. So okay.
Now let's sit down and leave. That's it. Yeah. All right.
Hey,
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
thank you.
And that
Yeah,
was, and that's what we would call a medley.
yeah. That was a little cadenza there.
Yeah.
I keep looking at the screen. The circle's going around like this. It's waiting for something. Maybe it's waiting for me to play the right note. I don't know.
No, no, you played the right note. So listen, can we talk a little bit about the alto saxophone? And I just want to chronicle the the um, the emergence of a Lester Young, which preceded bebop, huh? And
Yeah, wait.
Lester Young was a tenor player.
He
Okay,
was.
Yeah, so this is the point that I was making when we were talking earlier. Um, yeah, I don't think it is just a notion that alto saxophone has a prevalence in bebop. Um, well, there's Charlie Parker, Sonny Stitt, but I would like to ask you to comment a little bit on your engagement with bebop as an alto player, and maybe why that choice, why you magnate toward the alto saxophone as a bebop player.
Well, the bebop music to me is like really challenging, and I've got a long way that my goals are set because there's so many tunes to learn. The heads, I found it really challenging to play bebop, and I got the bug, as they say. I got hooked on it because it was so much fun to get the thing going and to build the choruses and to make something happen, and also the challenge of telling a story because if you're not telling a story, which Artie Shaw told me once, he pulled the solo out of the recording because he said, "Greg, with you're taking your solo out, you didn't tell a story." I said, "What do you mean, Artie?" I said, "Tell a story." I told a story. He said, "Yeah, but your story, no one could understand your story." So I said, "Well, I did," but I mean that was a lesson there by Artie Shaw.
Yeah, yeah,
But I found that like playing bebop on the tenor is just as enjoyable to me. Playing like like if I played Donna Leon or I played like a rhythm change tune. But I think coming up from Lester Young and those the whole sound and the tunes and the way they projected the sound with less notes in a way. They didn't have like the tensions, like the ninths and the 11ths and 13ths. They stayed more in the diatonic realm of the chord. Don't you agree with that?
yes. I'm sorry.
Like, I'll play like maybe a little bit of Robin's Nest. You know Robin's Nest?
Yes.
Should I play that or should we talk more about it?
Well, I'd like to hear you play more.
Okay. Okay.
Then we can talk a little more.
Sure.
Very good. Thank you.
Hey, that's Robin's Nest. Thank you.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah, like the bop era became very busy, like playing tunes like like Hot House, and
Yeah,
like that's also a contra fact, and like on what is this thing, Love, and all the rhythm change tunes by that Gershwin wrote. I Got Rhythm, and all the jazz cats would play like different heads on that, like just like
right.
so many different ones. So
Yeah. Well, in your career, you have played with so many people, and I mean, you have moved through a number of idiom, bebop being one, I'd like for you maybe to talk a little bit about your post-bop experience.
my post bop.
Post-bop experience, yeah.
Oh yeah, well this I guess I'm playing post bop though. I'm not. It's like post bop right now.
Yeah. Well,
Uh
I'm thinking of maybe your experience with Lou Tobacco
oh
and yeah,
oh
and Kenny Barron, who I know you are still collaborating with.
yeah. Well, Lou. Well, my career was it's pretty vast with different musicians that I played with. I mentioned before with rhythm section players and guest artists. But playing with Lou Tobacco as a guest, Nick Brignola, so Richie Cole, Phil Woods, James Moody, and Piquito de Rivera.
Yeah.
I did record with Red Rodney at Town Hall in Manhattan. I mean, that wasn't released, but that's a really great memory of mine. And then so many other recordings, not to mention so many names, but with Kenny Barron, I did a recording on Candid label in 1996, and it was entitled "Bop Lives." And Kenny was playing piano with Rufus Reed on bass, Ben Riley on drums, and Claudio Roditi was on trumpet, flugelhorn. And I hadn't seen Kenny for like since I saw him last. Since then was June of 2019 because we were playing in Camden, Maine at a jazz festival, and I wanted to. I was talking to my record company now, which is Whaling City Sound, and they've been really great. I've done 5 records with them, and we're doing one with Kenny in September, and that will be a reuniting with him. And I'm going to be doing all Kenny Barron tunes on this record recording. So, and we're going to be at Rudy Van Gelder's studio and doing it there.
Uh-huh.
So it's
That's
really good. But Lucha Bakken was, a lot of these great players that I played with. It was like also taking lessons, and we talk about things together, and like would playing with Phil Woods is like an education in itself, and
right.
a lot of these players that I played with, even on jazz festivals, playing the rhythm section where it was like Hank Jones, Elvin Jones, and what was it, Ray Brown on bass, and being put in that spot as the guest, and the trio would be there, and you would play 2 tunes with them. A lot of those type of gigs happened for me like all over the world, so it's like kind of like a very great experience I've had. It's been awesome,
And and I
to
think
learn.
that many of your jazz fans uh, may not be aware of the fact that you did have uh, a funk experience, an R&B experience with James Brown.
Well,
And a
yeah, I
couple
played a lot of James Brown music. I didn't play with James, but I played with Ray Charles.
maybe Ray Charles. I'm sorry, Ray Charles. Ray
Yeah,
Charles, and you played with a number of Motown bands, didn't you? Did you ever?
yeah. Gloria Jones, and she was in Hollywood, and I played with her and did a couple of recordings. I never really got to hear any of them, but and then I did a recording with I played with the Von Ryan's Express. That was another soul band. We would travel all over the country in the cars, riding all over. And then there was some bands, Dave Clark Expedition. I worked with them in Los Angeles, and I worked with a Mass Confusion, another fusion band in Los Angeles. And I did back east here. I was with a group called the Stingers, and I had my own group, Channel One, which is a modern jazz fusion band. And there's a few other groups I played with in doing some things in Hollywood with different bands, doing some sessions.
Well,
Yep.
let me ask you this: um, Can you tell us, uh, maybe anecdotally, uh, experiences that you have had, maybe experience that you had where you were not treated as nicely um, on the road with one band as you were treated with another?
No, no, I never had trouble with like that, but I had trouble with certain people that were not in the band that wanted to be in the band.
Dig that. Yeah.
With teaching? Oh, the kitchen.
What about the kitchen?
I don't know. Kerry's.
Are you talking about the club, the kitchen?
Oh, the kitchen. My girlfriend's telling me that I should remember this.
What happened?
Walking through the kitchen. They brought the band through the kitchen. Oh, yeah, that's bad. That's like, yeah, well, I don't want to. It's kind of racist, actually. I don't want to say. I'm not. You know, I mean, what happened was like with the band when I was with Ray Charles, they, some of the musicians, they wouldn't let the musicians come in into the. I mean, they had to go through the back, and that kind of like bugged me. I went with them, of course, but it's just it's cruel. The world's not friendly at times. I mean, but there's been other things where I was like having problems like with certain musicians that wanted to have the gig that I had, and it was be kind of like really, really kind of not too friendly.
Yeah. Well, no, I was just curious because I think we've all had those moments from time to
Well,
time.
yeah, there's so many. Yeah, I can't really. I know after we finish, I'll think of some things and I'll say, gee, now I should have mentioned it, but
Maybe
it's
you should.
kind of
Oh, maybe you should try to forget about them. I don't know,
yeah.
but um, I want to just say to the audience, we are having this great interview with the great
Oh,
saxophonist Greg Abate here from Cafe Coda Global Live Streaming. We're based in Madison, Wisconsin, uh, but Greg is in Rhode Island, and we are both testing our learning curve here with with streaming technology. And I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in, and I hope that you will continue to support uh, live music and support live streaming by donating to Cafe Coda or GoFundMe.com/F/ keep Coda alive. And do we have that on the screen at all? So yes, your contributions allows this particular establishment to maintain itself in this pandemic environment, and it also helps the business because I don't know about you, Greg, but it's been pretty difficult trying to maintain a work schedule as a
well,
performing artist during
well,
this.
yeah. It's
Yeah,
been no. I haven't had a playing gig since March 12th, which is like most of us. That
yeah.
was that was the turning point of coming back from where I was to come back home from
Mhm.
Ohio because I was going to go somewhere else on the 13th, and I had a nice string of gigs all the way through April, March, April, May, June, and July is all canceled. I had my England tour is all canceled in Wales, and had like 20, 24 gigs in
Oh
England
man, that's a drag.
starting on next Monday. Yeah,
Well, listen,
yeah.
our producers are encouraging us to talk less and encouraging you to play
Oh,
more. So
oh, really? Okay.
yeah, so
Well, I,
we
I love. I
we
can
could
talk
talk
about it.
all night, but
I was thinking about my flute because I started playing flute with the Ray Charles band because I there was flute in the saxophone part, and all through Berkeley, I never got into flute. At the school, I was playing like alto through the whole 4 years and doing my compositions, and
yes.
so. But I remember like playing Georgia. What was the thing? Was this? Let me see. I didn't play it in time, but that's what the introduction to Georgia was in my book. So I had to play the flute, but I didn't have a flute, for the rehearsal. So I went and bought a flute at some music store. I don't know how I even afforded to do that, but at that time, in 1973, it was probably maybe a lot less than it would be today. But I had my friend on my left, the great James Clay, tenor saxophonist from Texas.
Yes.
He would cover that part for me because at the time, I couldn't get a note out of the flute really. So yeah, hold that. Ray would hold that note until he wanted to go like this, and then he would come in Georgia, right? But that was like, it doesn't sound like much, but try to do that when you haven't played the flute, and it sounds like this. That same thing,
I
You
know
know what I mean?
that sound. I know that sound. Well, would you play it for us?
Play the something on the flute. How about an original blues, minor blues?
Absolutely.
It's entitled Contemplation.
Yeah. My man, beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Well, that's
Thanks.
a very nice sound, and that's a very nice instrument. I wish we had a little more time to talk. I'd like to talk with you about Miramatsu and Miyazawa.
Well, the flutes, you mean? The
Yeah.
flute. Do you play those?
Yes, I have one of each, and I'm trying to decide which one I want to sell.
Oh, really? Well,
Yeah.
I don't. I've never had owned one of those. This is an Emerson. It's I don't have the Miramatsu.
Well, it
What
sounds
what
beautiful.
what do you want to ask me about it? That I don't know the flute though.
Well, actually, don't want to take up a lot of time, but I
Oh
wanted
no.
I wanted to talk with you about the difference in the response in a thin wall as opposed to a medium wall instrument.
I think the thin wall to me vibrates easier. The,
Yes.
the the thick wall has more of a solid sound. But for me, I like a thinner wall because I like the brighter sound.
Yes.
It responds really easy. And this is a closed open hole flute, but I put the real good plugs in there because I had it open. But I like to play fast at times, and with the holes like that, with the
Oh
offset
yeah.
G,
Yeah.
But I mean, I like the thin wall flute.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've played the like Armstrong's or middle. There's all different price range of the flute, but the flute is a thicker flute, and it's
It's a
like a
bigger,
heavier sound.
Yeah,
Don't you think?
yeah. My Miramatsu is a thicker wall, and it gives me more body. But the thin wall, the Miyazawa, is the easier playing instrument.
Yeah, I gotta check you out more on some playing.
Oh man, I would love to play with you when you come back in town.
Yeah, I think I'll be able to come back to town someday when this is over.
Oh
You know,
yes, we're gonna have you back here.
it's gonna be fun, man.
Would you like to play a little bit more? We have about I guess about 15 more minutes, and I don't want to monopolize.
Yeah. Oh no, I like to do it like
Also, I want you to know this conversation is great for me. It's just
me too, because it's like I've been looking forward to it. It was a pleasure to meet you. I haven't
yeah,
seen you for like a long time.
yeah.
And then when you said that you invite me to play, and it was just great. Come out there, and you gentlemen, you get me an airline ticket, flew me out there, and had a good time, man. Thank you.
Absolutely, man. You entitled. You deserve uh, the respect of a great musician that you are,
Oh wow, thank you.
and we're going to have you back real soon. But I need you to play a little
Yeah.
bit. My producers are looking at me crazy.
Oh yeah, who's that?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah, that was thank you. That was a recording made by Joe Henderson.
Yes, recorded made by Joe Henderson is great.
I
Great.
love Joe Henderson. There's so many great players that they're all over, man. It's like it's a wealth of knowledge that you can just like draw upon by just listening to them. Like what I listened a lot when I was in school to different saxophonists, and I really got hooked on Bird and Phil Woods and Cannonball Adderley and Sonny Stitt and Art Pepper and Dexter Gordon, Train and Sonny Rollins and Gene Ammons, and of
Yeah.
course Lester Young. Different. There's so many players inside. They say people ask me who's your favorite player that you listen to, and I said, well, I don't, I can't choose.
Yeah. When someone asks you that, it's almost a trap. Uh,
Yeah.
but let me ask you a question that might be a little trapping. Who's
Okay.
who's the next cat? Who's the next cat to make a real statement in this music?
I don't know. I try the best I can, but I mean, I don't know. I just I hear a lot of great players, and
Do you see any young musicians on the horizon
oh,
that really impress you as
well,
maybe
I have.
being capable of taking it you
Oh
know,
yeah, I
moving
see.
forward.
I've had some personally sax students of mine. This one gentleman that comes to mind. He lives in Chico, California right now, but he's a great alto player. Greg Takamoto. There's so many players that you don't hear about that are just monster players.
Right.
But also thinking about that now, what does that mean? That's a slang, a monster player. But to me, a great player is like a Phil Woods. It's like perfect to me. Like everything that he did was so awesome, and especially when he was a lot younger. I mean, I know he slowed down a little bit, but he still had that musicality, which is like a magic thing. And I remember what I was talking about the time. I used I had a trouble with time. I rushed a lot when I was younger because I get really excited when I play, and I lose track of the pulse of where I am. You know, you have to listen to everybody when you play, but you also have to listen to yourself with everybody.
That's right.
But I had trouble with that, and like I started listening to different people and concentrating on time because a lot of people that were my like sort of people that were outspoken, and they were honest with me, and they said, "Hey, Greg, you know, you're really speeding up, man." And I used to get upset. I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "You're not pulsating. I mean, that's like you're not swinging, man. You're not putting the eighth notes where they're supposed to be."
Hmm.
So you learn all that, you know, and
Yeah.
like like Artie Shaw said, tell the story when you play.
Right.
So it's not all about technique. It's not all about that. But a lot of
Mhm.
when you're younger, you want to play as fast as you can in all the things that you can put into one thing, and that's hard to like shed to get rid of that because that encompasses like you as an artist. You know, it's not bad to do that in the beginning. It's like it's good you have all that, and then you sort of let it go and only use what you want when you want it, and to
Right.
have the judgment to use it right is what like Phil Woods and those great players had. You know, like you just listen to the time and they had, you know, and the way
Yeah.
they just put everything right there, like Dexter Gordon and like of course John Coltrane and you know Sonny Rollins. I listened to some of his stuff the other day, and it's just like he was playing. There will not only be another you. This track he did. It
Yeah.
was like so it's a learning thing, and that sticks in you. But when people say to me on a gig, "Hey man, you know, I heard a little bit of Art Pepper in there, you know, when you did that." And
Right.
so I don't take offense to that. And they said, "But you know, you've got your own sound, Greg, but you have these influences that you come out on different tunes you play. And because I know the sound of those players, I can relate to it that you've listened to so and so." I said, "Yeah, you know, so it's in there, you know, but you don't." Um,
Well, listen, Greg. Do you have a favorite ballad that you could play for us?
I don't have a favorite anything.
Well, do you have one that you like?
Oh yeah, I like a lot of them. You have one? Why don't you call one?
Um, in a sentimental mood.
Okay.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Thank you, everybody. Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah. You put your
Well,
foot in it. That was great, man.
thank you.
That's one of my favorite Duke Ellington pieces.
I would think, yeah, I love it too. I would have played longer, but I know that we don't have a lot of time, right? Or do we?
We got a few more minutes, man. Yeah,
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
I wish we had more time to get some. Should I play another tune?
Oh, please do.
What do you want to play? Some Bob Bop tune?
How about something a little modal?
All right. Hold on.
Yeah,
uh,
one question I wanted to ask you is as the times move from the 50s, 60s into the 70s, see that modal music is becomes more prevalent in the 60s and 70s. Your opinion about that and why that happened? Why we moved from a post bop stage into a modal
yeah.
reality?
I think it's sort of like a fusion between modal and post bop. Like it sort of like comes together. So you have, put a little of this in there, like a little flavor instead of like, an interlude or something would have that sort of a difference to not be just one particular idiom. To have like when you put like jazz and funk together, it became like a fusion that he called it, right? But like maybe modal and bop would be like that's what I think of like post bop would be like more not avant garde, but I mean like more freedom of speech, of harmonic and tech and rhythmic figures, where
Yeah,
you don't have the chords going in the same diatonic diatonic means the same key, but in the same key area all the time, but like modulates, and then you could go to different tempos and different feels.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I
Well,
think
like a modal tune, what kind of modal tune would you want me to play?
um how about
Impressions?
sure,
Is that right?
sure.
Wrong key.
My man.
All
That's
right.
beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you.
Got a cold.
Yeah, it's all right. Well, yeah, that sounds great, man. Listen,
Thank
we got a few minutes left. I would like if you would please talk to us a little bit about two things. Um, I'd like to get your philosophical opinion about where the music is headed,
you.
uh, and I want to hear a little bit about your project with Kenny, as that is a new
Well, I
project.
think that it's for me. I just think about where I'm going. My vision is just to play jazz and to try to play melodically and the best I can. I don't particularly think I'm going to innovate anything, but I mean, I don't know. Music's going. It seems like jazz is going and taking a downside, like in the masses, because I just talking to people that they're not aware of like people like in the jazz world that have made the art form what it is. It's an American art form, and they don't really understand it. Some of my students at college, even their grandparents don't know about jazz. So they're studying jazz, but they're playing in all these different like hip hop groups and stuff where it's not really playing the time and playing like changes or so I don't know. I know that I think jazz is like the jazz that we know and play is becoming more like an art form like classical music where it's always going to be there. But unlike classical music where it has to be written and like it's like orchestrated, jazz is going to be orchestrated by the players that keeping that sense of the art form to whether that becomes popular music or just it's going to stay in the middle ground.
Yeah, yeah.
But with Kenny Barron, the recording is going to be all his originals. That not every one, but most of them for maybe 10 or 12 tunes.
He's a
Huh?
great writer. He's a great writer, Kenny Barron.
Yeah, I love. I've been really loving his music to
You know
see it on paper.
You know that piece that he and Youssef collaborated entitled "A Flower."
Oh, uh, the flower, the not forest flower.
No, it's not for. It's a Kenny Barron piece entitled "A Flower." La 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 la. He performed it with Youssef Lateef.
I don't know that one. What is the name of it, please?
"Flower" by
Well,
Kenny.
no, that's not one of them I have. That's for sure.
Well, it's a good one.
No.
I bet
Um,
that you could work it.
the flower, right? It's the title.
I think it's called "A Flower."
Oh, a flower. I'll look at. I'll look at it. I'll look it up on the. I'll try to find that lead sheet.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
sounds like a waltz you're singing in there, isn't it? It's a waltz.
It's actually kind of it's rubato at first,
Oh.
and then it kind of like moves into like a little presto three. La 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 la. Well, okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's it. It goes into three there, right? Presto.
Three there, and then it's rubato at the other end of A. La 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 la. Oh, it's a beautiful piece. But anyway,
Well, it sounds something that there's a couple of waltzes that I have here. I can't remember. It's like title of it. Uh,
well,
Water Lily. Water Lily.
Water Lily
Yeah, that's
by,
what it is. Kenny Barron.
by Kenny Barron.
Yeah, it's a waltz.
Right. I love it.
See, see, it goes something like this. I think I
You
it's,
want to
it's
take
not.
a shot with that one? You wanna take a shot with that one? Mm.
That's like the A section of it, the water lily
It's
of
beautiful.
Kenny Barrett.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Wow. How's
great.
it in Madison tonight, guys?
Oh man, Madison is cool. It's just everything up and everybody's got a mask on and everybody's being socially distant and I guess
Yeah. Yeah. He's gonna be like doing more live things in the club and doing these in the club rather than remotely
well
with
I
artists.
think we're gonna be forced to be closed until mid September.
So you can't even go in there to do anything, like just with a few people to do this.
Well, not for any profit
Oh wow,
because
that's
we have only a capacity of 50% capacity, and that 50% capacity diminishes with every person. For instance,
nope.
I can only have if I have 90 people capacity now, I can only have 48, and with my sound crew and my bartender and my door person, now it's down to 44. And with the band of a quartet, then it's 40. And then me, it's 39. You see where I'm going with this? And so it's kind of hard
Hmm.
to work with 35
Yeah,
coming in.
but
Really?
like to do concerts like remotely when you have a group in there, like, and you can project it out. If you can have that be like a series you did, would that be something that would be worth to do? I mean, to get the music, like groups in there, like a quartet, and do the video stream for Coda.
Well, it's something that we're talking about. This
Yeah.
new for all of us, and we are trying to investigate all the possibilities of keeping this place active and keeping the music out to the people. Uh, and we've been pretty successful in the past 12 weeks, but
Uh,
not
so
been able to
glad.
bring people in.
It's been tough. I mean, I really appreciate that. I know I asked you to do this because I saw a couple of things you're doing, and I said, "Gee, I'd like to be involved in that because being at Coda last December, of course, and I just thought I would ask, and I appreciate that you agreed to have me on the show tonight to do
Well,
this.
this
You know,
has been a pleasure. And let me tell you something, Greg. Not a time that you and I talk that I don't learn something. And so I just thank you for your wisdom as well as your musical abilities.
thank you. You're welcome. I appreciate that. Likewise, back at you too, talking with you and speaking about things, and it's like we just got to really have a conversation a little bit last time I was there. So this is like really only second time we really sat down to talk about things.
Yeah,
And
yeah. So how about taking us out with one, brother?
sure.
All right. And this is the great Greg Abate, ladies and
Thank you.
gentlemen,
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Hanah. Everybody.
all the way from Rhode Island.
Yeah, it's a
And
long way, man.
long way. And I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in. I'd like to thank the Madison Music Experience for all of their help, and Jan Lynn for being Jan Lynn. And
Thank you.
yeah, and
Thank you, everybody.
GoFundMe.com uh, /F keep Coda alive. And when you keep Coda alive, you make it possible for us to continue to have streaming events, bring to your television, to your computer, the great acts.
So, like, where should I send that CD to you?
Send it to me as soon as possible.
At the club?
Yeah, send it to the club.
I will. You expect that. You'll be coming, man.
All right, brother. Thank you.
All right.
I'll say, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Thank you very much,
Thank you
everybody.
very much once again. Greg Abate, ladies and gentlemen. He
Thank you. Have a great night, everyone.
be back in Madison as soon as we get through this little ordeal of the COVID-19. Greg, we're going to have you back live.
All right.
And we thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
giving us your
Love
time.
you all. Thanks a lot. Have a great night.
Power
Stay
to the
well and
people.
safe.
All right.
Cheers. Bye.
Say goodbye to Carrie.
Bye bye, Carrie.
Thank you, Hannah, so much for the opportunity.
Carrie. Yeah. You all take care of each other.
Stay
You too.
well.